Joseph Myrick was caught in the to catch a predator sting of Fortson, Georgia. He was 41 years old at the time, and believed he was speaking with a 15-year-old girl. Over the course of this video, I'll go over the chat log Joseph had with the perverted justice decoy, and then take a look at the Dateline segment which followed. This video is for entertainment purposes, but be warned, the content is verbally graphic. Viewer discretion is highly advised. It goes without saying, but please do not contact, harass, or in any way communicate with anyone depicted in this video. And with that out of the way, let's dive in. Before taking a look at the first page, I think we should all take a moment to admire this user's screen name, Dick Hung Well. My gosh. What really tickles me about this name is the fact that at least through the first page, which I've read ahead, Mr. Hungwell actually communicates quite well. He comes across as a civil man, someone who appreciates the art of conversation, and that style of texting, coming from a Mr. Dick Hungwell, has brought me no end of amusement. Let's see what Sir Hung has to say, hey? Joseph has likely the most formal introduction that I've ever seen come from a predator. Right off the bat, he says, "Please excuse my intrusion. Hi, I'm Joe, a single white male, 41, and I'd like to say I think you're an attractive woman indeed, as well as sexy. I'll not intrude again though. My. There's quite a lot in that. We know immediately that he's a predator, and he's looking for something. What exactly? I can't be certain. Be it an actual meetup, or simply a conversation with someone he finds attractive. Time will tell. But a conversation is what he wants at the least, and he approaches the decoy from a submissive position, allowing her to have the power to accept his invitation or reject it. This on paper may seem as though he's being polite, but in this setting, it's a test. He's throwing bait into the water and seeing if she'll bite. Should the conversation continue, then he has already established his attraction towards her, and he can easily move the conversation forward with that detail in mind. This opening lowers his threat level and provides the target a sense of comfort that the man she's speaking to is safe. Should he say or do anything that makes her uncomfortable, he's already indicated that he has no expectations of how this should go, so it would be easy to rid herself of him. He also calls her a woman, not a girl, further increasing her chances that she'll communicate with him, as many people may not refer to her as a woman just yet. Young teens often crave to be seen as more than a child. Incredibly sneaky work indeed. Manipulation hidden behind the mask of politeness and sincerity. The decoy bites and thanks him for his kind words. She then lets him know that she is black and 15 years old. When she tells him the color of her skin, she reveals that this has been a point of tension in her life. Her direct words are, "Most people think she's black, so that's bad." The predator uses this as a leverage point, and separates himself from the other, less kind individuals that have communicated with her by telling the target that if they think her skin color is bad, then that proves ignorance on their part, and is a sign that they weren't raised right. It's not often I find myself agreeing with a predator's words as I do here, but it's not lost on me that I think this is all a part of his grooming blueprint. Moving on from that, they briefly discuss how far from one another they are, and Joseph would like to know if he's too old for her to speak with. When she confirms that he's not, the man assures her that he is damn healthy, and that he keeps a young mind and spirit. Once we catch a glimpse of what he actually looks like, and learn about all of the cocaine that he ingests, I'm going to have a good chuckle remembering back to these words, hey. The two discuss their interests, and we learn that Mr. Hung isn't much for the club scene. There's too much noise. He much prefers long walks where people can talk and really get to know one another. Who would have known Sir Dick Hungwell was a man of such refined class? A little further down from this comment, we get, in my opinion, his first venture into what could be considered sexual dialogue. The decoy tells him that she's too young for clubs, and there's not much to do where she lives, so she gets bored a lot. Our predator responds that there's fun to be had at the right times. Whatever could he mean? A comment like this is easy to pass off as innocent, but reading between the lines, he's testing to see what she might interpret from what he said. Fun absolutely could be had in the form of video games, books, sports, but also bedroom activities. It's all on the table, and he wants to know where her mind is at, not providing him with what he's looking for. The decoy chooses not to respond to that comment, and the conversation then moves onto her living arrangements. As we see with almost all of the predators, they start many of these chats by trying to determine how feasible of a target they're dealing with. Knowing the movements of the adults in the miner's life is key to that understanding. Completely out of left field, Hungwell floats the idea of them meeting up. He reassures her that his thoughts here are purely speculative, not hard plans, but he would like to know what sort of trouble he could get in with her mother should he ever come around for using his words, a hookup. I know we're on the first page, but there's quite a lot to break down here. What's jumping out at me is his ability to communicate with the target effectively, hiding his intent well while testing waters. This is an experienced groomer, in my opinion, using phrases such as hook up instead of meet up. Everything he's doing has a slight lean towards possible sexual energy, but can also be hand-waved away as different ways to say things should he be called out on it. The hope here would be that in one of these instances, she might catch on and turn things towards a sexual direction, and it will seem like her idea, rather than he being the predator that brought it on. Nearing the end of this page, conversation turns towards racism and how the decoy experiences it on a regular basis. This prompts the knight in shining armor to say, "Yeah, there are a lot of racist on, and even though I was born and raised here, I know this. People are people, regardless, and it don't matter the color. Yeah, that's what I say. To me, black women and white women are sexy, but in different ways. Cool. And I've found that people that are thought to be what they call fine and all that are usually shallow and self-absorbed. Fuck them. Laugh out loud. Yeah, they're not good at all. Nope. I think I have an advantage too. I was raised by 8 females, so I learned a lot. Laugh out loud. Hell, I heard some things I didn't want to hear. On accident though. Laugh out loud. Continuing with the pattern that has emerged, notice even then, within that excerpt, Joseph attempts to turn the conversation sexual without brutishly doing so. The example here is him mentioning that he learned some things from his many sisters that he wished he hadn't. The goal with that is to get the decoy to ask, what are these things? And who knows where he could take it from there. Breast growth, periods, anatomy of the vagina, maybe even conversations about boys that they found hot. Things that he can pass off as knowledge that he wasn't out looking for. But hey, now that he has it, that makes him a more appealing man, as he understands things about a woman that other men might not. It's all subtle and sneaky stuff, and absolutely not what I expected from someone with a screen name such as his. Over on the next page, Sir Hungwell discusses a few minor details about what growing up with so many sisters was like, and after a bit of faffing about, he produces this nonsense. The first black woman I knew told me when she met me, she thought I was just another racist, until she talked to me and we hung out. It was great after that. Yeah, it's good to meet nice white people. Thanks for thinking I'm not a jerk. I think I'm a good man. Cool. Thanks for thinking I'm sexy. Can I ask a very personal question? Oh, I do think that. Sure, ask anything. I ain't scared. Laugh out loud, okay. Well, I do think you're damn sexy, and was wanting to know if you have had sex, and if it bothers you I'm being forward. Yeah, I'm not a virg. I've had it, And I don't care that you're being forward. It makes me feel nice. Hell, hun. I saw your pic and thought, damn, I bet she hot in person. The fact that he is focused on, and throughout the log will focus on her skin color to such a degree, speaks a lot about not only his MO when it comes to grooming, but how he views minors in general. I don't think race has much to do with the conversation, other than the fact that he's found a perceived vulnerability that he can exploit for his own sexual gain, and here he's latched onto her skin color as a perceived vulnerability. You won't hear me say this often, but I would be incredibly interested to read any other chat logs that this man may have had with potential victims and targets. Does he have a pattern of who he targets? Or does he exploit perceived vulnerability in any way, shape, or form that he finds? Whatever the underlying cause for his thoughts are, the conversation very quickly takes a pretty nasty turn. Thanks for your honest answer to my question. Anytime. It's just a question. I don't mind. It makes me feel good. I'd like to do that more to make you feel good, that is. I thought when I saw you, damn, I'd love to taste her. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud? Wow. That's cool. I haven't done that. You don't know what you're missing. Here's some more pics. See if you still like me. Okay, don't leave. Laugh out loud. I won't. Hell, you're sexier than I thought. My. Thanks. You're welcome. You have it all in the right places, no doubt. Laugh out loud, thanks. If we were to hook up, it'd be our business, and no one else's, right? Laugh out loud, yeah. I wouldn't want to get grounded. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that'd suck. Yeah, that wouldn't make me happy, but I know how to be quiet. Well, we have no problems. Dick hung well, then focuses on her skin color again briefly, before spouting this round of verbal diarrhea out. Well, I say my thoughts when they are asses on here. Then they iggy me, but although I'm upfront about my likes, I am, if nothing else, honest, and don't play bullshit gums, and do not put up with morons. Yeah, honest is good. And don't take this the wrong way, but when I'm with a female, I like to make them feel special, and I spoil them while we're together for the time we are, and I'd spoil you if allowed. And well, I don't mean for that to sound degrading. Honest is best, nothing less. Laugh out loud. That don't sound bad at all. Good. I don't know. Why would that sound bad? Well, some might take it wrong and think I'm trying to treat them like a hooker, but that's not at all the case. Laugh out loud, like the movie Pretty Woman? You're just sexy and have a nice personality, and I'd really like to see you. The decoy requests a photo of the man, but unfortunately, he doesn't have anything to show her. He does, however, provide her with a description of what he looks like. Tall, long, clean hair that sits in a ponytail. He's tanned, healthy, and has a hairy chest and stomach. I do believe he forgot to mention the drug-addled facial features, but time is limited, and he chose to include the important parts, hey? At the top of this page, our predator is flinging all sorts of compliments at his target, and playing into the trap. The decoy is quite responsive to what he's saying. The subject of sexy clothing is what is being discussed, and after offering to take her shopping for some clothing, this is said, "But I don't care what you hear. It's you I want to see. Laugh out loud." Laugh out loud, I like that. We can buy things though. Laugh out loud. That'd be cool. You choose and I buy. Okay. Wow. That sounds good. You're really generous. No, I just know when I'm attracted to a person and I like to make them see, know, and feel that I truly am. That's awesome. I like the way you think. I don't know any other way to think. Laugh out loud. That's good. Don't change. No way. Now we have to figure out how and when we can get together. From this point, logistics of a potential meetup are in the works, and a date is penciled in for the coming weekend if communications continue at this rate. This makes way for an interesting little excerpt that I want to show you. The two have been discussing how he wishes he had finished school, but it's not that big a deal, because he still managed to complete his education after he left. I think I'm a smart man. Cool, I think so too. I think about things, and don't just act on impulse. Gotta have a train of thought. Laugh out loud. Cool. Yeah, you gotta have a plan. Yep. And I do. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. Oh yeah? Yep. What's your plan? To enjoy life 100% and go for what I like. And as far as females, my plan is to show you just how much I am interested in you and how sexy I think you are. And above all, show you and make you feel beautiful, desired, and respected. And to be as good a friend as I can. Laugh out loud. Oh yeah? That sounds like a pretty good plan to me. It's so nice to hear that you think I'm sexy and beautiful. Well, I thought that at first look at your pic, and can only try and imagine how you look altogether. But yeah, know your personality is also captivating. Thanks. I'm glad you like both. I do. I think you probably have a very nice ass as well, as you do chest. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud, thanks. You can kinda see my booty in that one pic. Yeah, kinda. Not all the way, laugh out loud, but kinda yeah. I think it's one of my good features. Good enough to a Migini. I bet you'd look great in lace too. Ignoring the absolute ridiculous nature of this nonsense, and the fact that he refers to himself as smart, yet is doing one of the dumbest things known to man with this entire situation, what jumps out at me is his ability, or at least his attempt at an ability, to communicate using an above predatory average style of chat. His word selection sets him apart from the usual predatory gaggle that come knocking on these doors. Things like captivating, desired, but then he pits that vocabulary choice right up against idiocy such as misspelling imagine, imagini, and nonsensical sexual dialogue like, you probably have a nice ass. Mr. Hungwell is an interesting creature. Deep down below the layers of stupidity, I think we once upon a time had likely quite a bright man here, but no longer does he exist in the light of day. Now he dwells below, within the labyrinth-like dungeons of Kingdom Dick Hungwell. Traces of this gentleman do remain, and if you press your ear to one of the cracks in the ground, listen carefully, one can hear him philosophically musing to himself through the madness of the Hung Empire. And madness it is. Listen to this. I think you'd look best in see-through top, lacy thomag type panties, stokings, and heels. Oh, wow. That'd be so hot. Yes, it would. I like how you think. You ever been with a white man? Thanks. No? Is that bad? Not at all. Exposing the depth of his idiocy, he claims that he hadn't been with a black girl until the first time. What does that even mean? Should I thank Captain Obvious for stating such a fact? I mean, no one has done anything until their first time, right? Or does he mean the first time he had sex was with a black woman? Which is surely not what he means, right? Because that makes the statement even more confusing. Not wanting to get too hung up on the head-scratching nature of this statement, I moved forward through the chat, only to learn that the happenings around these parts are going in a pretty nasty direction. Sir Hungwell criticizes the decoy's ex for not wanting to perform oral sex on her, and he claims that this individual must have been gay. A rational thought indeed. He's not selfish, inexperienced, but gay. It's the only explanation. The decoy corrects Hungwell's critical analysis and claims that her ex was simply lazy. A voice of reason is always welcome when reading these logs, hey? Not deterred by the fumble, Hungwell latches on to what she says and confirms that he is not lazy. He's in fact anti-lazy. The two go on to discuss oral sex for a bit, and my, Mr. Hungwell really is an icon of romance. He says, "I can say I do. I've always been told that I am damn near perfect at oral, and that being my favorite thing to do to get you worked up and hot." Yeah, I bet that would work me up. It would, yes. It's an art, not just a thing to do. To do it, and to make a woman love it, you have to do it right. That's awesome. See, that sounds better than just lazy, wham bam, laugh out loud. Wham bam is for guys that only want to please themselves. Yeah, I want you pleased. That sounds like a nice change, yeah. Like in a room with low lights and a candlelight, a warm, soothing bath or shower, and then a sensual, slow, seductive massage to start. I think I could please you like you have not been. The two exchange cell phone numbers and plan to speak again soon, but then our predator vanishes, and our decoy writes these notes about the situation. Quote, "So that was the first conversation. This guy was the first chatter to talk to me at all for this thing. I figured I was doing pretty good, but then it took him a week to talk to me again. Of course, I would quickly learn why. I figured he had wised up and made a moral decision. I was very wrong." End quote. When the dick hangs well and truly back into the chat, he explains that all last week he was in different states as he drives a truck for a living. He had no reception, and throughout those long, arduous hours on the road, he missed his target deeply. When the decoy responds, things pick right up where they left off, and she lets him know that she would be available for a hangout the following day. Sir Dick is incredibly excited, and confirms that he will be in attendance, and he'll be bringing his big old work truck for her to check out. The predator chatter ensues, and he plays a brief version of the maturity game, praising her ability to communicate on a level that surpasses a person of her age. Within this game, he does express some concern that she may not like what she sees when he gets there, but he tries to alleviate this concern by expelling that he is no, quote, fat ass or dirty. Laugh out loud. End quote. The remainder of this page is easily summarized as predator chatter. Joseph, aka Hungwell, continues to praise the decoy for her looks and her personality, and on more than one occasion expresses great interest in this, as he calls it, this relationship. He wants it to be an ongoing thing. Something that will be great as long as neither of them mess up by letting people know that it's occurring. Over on the next page, Joseph's grooming evolves beyond sexual pressure and develops into something that looks more like what textbook grooming is documented to be. He targets her vulnerabilities, at least what he perceives a young person's vulnerabilities to be, and he focuses his efforts on ensuring that she feels comfortable around him. He does this by repeatedly telling her that he won't do anything that makes her uncomfortable, and if they want, they can simply kick back and watch television together. What I find amusing about this portion of the chat is how Joseph is constructing an image of who he is to the child based off of what he believes she will feel comfortable with. He's providing her with the illusion of control over the situation, and each time he does this, the decoy throws it back in his face. As an example of what I mean, just as he states that she can do with him as she pleases, the decoy retorts that she wants him to take charge. He then tries to explain to her that he wants her to feel like something more than a sex toy, and that his ex was submissive, someone who enjoyed being talked dirty to, and that he wants more for the decoy. The decoy's response about his submissive ex? I think I'd like that. I reckon the decoys sometimes have a right chuckle when responding to these guys, hey. Working the long room, Dick talks about their future together, he taking her for trips in his truck while he works, and providing for her. He mentions how he would like to take all the time in the world to get to know her, And then he proceeds to make pretty nasty comments about how her body has filled out nicely for someone her age. By the end of the page, the two are incredibly excited for their meetup. This is going to be awesome, fun, and something we both will want to hold on to, I think. Yeah, we'll remember this forever. And you're shorter than me. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud, yeah. We'll remember it, yes. And I hope it goes on for as long as you're happy with it. Thank you. I'm sure it'll all go well. Yeah, you'll probably come up to my chest when standing. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud, yeah. That'll be hard. Yeah, it will. I like that you're small. I like that you're big. Laugh out loud. Well, we're what each other wants then. Yep. My hair's longer than yours. Ha 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 ha. Laugh out loud. That's cool. You're like a wild man then. The nastiness proceeds full steam ahead, with Hungwell wanting to know if she's shaved or not. He also lets her know that there's a specific part of her body which he likes very much. Hell, Hon, I know I like your breast, and can only think all of you is just as nice, even better. What sort of image did she show him? Just a close-up of one breast? Either way, he likes that one breast. The other one is fine, but that one in particular, it's really caught his eye, hey? Anyway, now prepare yourselves. Hungwell is about to say one of the more disturbing things I've read. I'm yours as long as you want, and all the way from talking about things, if you just need to talk, need to be held, or for any reason. Awesome. You're like a real-life teddy bear. I can't believe I've found a girl the way I like and feel blessed. Laugh out loud at teddy bear. Yeah, I'll be your bear. Awesome. And we bears like tasting honey. Laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. I got all the honey there is. Well, that's what I wanted to hear, and I'll eat all the honey you have. Nice. The remainder of this page, although eventful, is nothing we haven't seen so far. If I stopped at every point in this log to comment, we'd be stuck in it for hours. It's pretty interesting. To skim over the details here, they discuss urinating outside on trees, how he feels he's different from other guys, and how he likely will be more into her than other men would be. An isolation tactic at play there. He discusses life growing up with so many sisters being frustrating for him. Also, he clarifies that he never wore dresses growing up. Okay, no one asked if you did? Sounds like he's got some repressed issues there, hey? Things continue with him clarifying that he never liked the idea of beating on females. His wording. And I do say, the wording does prompt me to wonder if the idea has crossed his mind. A genuine solution to a problem he faced. His female was acting up, and he processed the entire situation logically. If I beat this female, it will solve my problem, but there would be consequences. Thankfully, after much thought and consideration, he came to the conclusion that the beating lifestyle is not for him. A gold sticker for this predator. Now, if only he could come to a similar conclusion about grooming minors. I don't know what it is about chat logs. A common pattern that occurs frequently manifests as the predators proceed with getting comfortable. The pattern is, despite their best efforts to present the illusion of charisma, their spelling and grammar takes a nosedive the longer the chat goes on for. Take a listen to this. I too am lucky. I can eat like a horse and not get fat. Wow, that's really lucky. Yeah, I have been like that all my life. Good metabolism and active. I have very little body fat and am only about 170, give or take a couple. And at 5'11", that's about right. Wow, you sound really fit. Every year when I have my annual physical, my doctor says I'm in better shape than a lot of guys half my age. He provides her with a story of why his previous relationship failed. You see, The woman he was with couldn't handle a man that stood up for himself and didn't give in to others. Reading between the lines, it sounds to me like compromise and understanding, two key elements to a relationship, are not present within his lovely arsenal of qualities. He does clarify that they had a great sex life though, an important detail to let any potential target know, of course. The man proceeds to once more gush about how lucky he is to have found his decoy, and shortly after that, she leaves to go grocery shopping with her mother. The next day, when conversation fires back up, the two mostly discuss the logistics of their meetup, what time he'll arrive, where he'll park his truck, and so forth. He also mentions, for probably the 5th time in this log, that her ass is something which intrigues him intensely. It's confirmed. We have an ass man on our hands. This nonsense spills over onto the final page of the log, and since the two are set to meet up very soon, the final words that this man ever speaks to his beloved decoy are as follows. "All right, Hon. I'm walking out the door in about 3 minutes. I'll see you ASAP. Let's just let things go as they have this far, and everything will fall into place, and we'll have a very, very good time, and no regrets." Very good. See you soon. Yes, you will. Awesome. Okay, I'm signing off to come down. Let's just look forward to today. See ya soon. See you in a bit. Amusingly enough, the decoy's final comments on this log are, quote, "He then showed up and sped talk to Chris Hansen, becoming the first predator to speak English and still need subtitles." End quote. To give you a taster of what his speaking voice is like, there's a couple of phone calls to review. I'll put together a little highlight reel now.
Oh.
Hey, is this Joe?
Yes.
Hey, it's Natasha.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, just chilling.
I hear you, hon. Yeah, I'm a little bit hoarse, though. My voice is kind of ragged for some reason.
Don't worry about it.
Nah, so, yeah, sorry I didn't get back on the computer there. I had a run I had to make. I got to go out here to, where am I going, damn it? South Dakota. And then, matter of fact, I'm over here by Kansas City right now. But, yeah, I'm going up here, take this load of carpet up here to these folks up here in daggum South Dakota. Then I'm coming back to Georgia. So, but I got my laptop, but I ain't got, of course, I ain't pulled over playing with it right now. The laptop, that is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to see you, sometime, get together and, but you are a pretty little thing. I don't know why folks don't tell you that.
Well, you know how some people are. They're like, I only date white girls.
Well, yeah, but that's because they just ain't got good sense. You're good and, bad and both, so, they just, I don't know who they get, So anyway, by the time I get up here, damn dumbass rat. Well, he's Rick, dumbass. By the time I get up here, it's probably going to be, I don't know, 12:30. And I don't know if you're going to be up that late or not.
I don't know. I'll try if you want.
I appreciate it, honey. And I'll get over as soon as I can. And shoot, we'll just keep on keeping on the way we're doing.
All right.
All right, honey. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh.
Hey, it's Natasha.
Hey, honey. I'm on my way. I'm just trying to get some traffic and stuff. I had a little time with some construction and all, but I'm on my way, sweetie. I'm getting there as soon as I can.
Oh, I know. I was just wondering how the traffic was and stuff.
Well, the traffic, I mean, like the last and stuff, they're doing construction up here by my way in Union City and all that mess, and it's just, they got it down to one lane, and people don't want to, give and take, so they're all trying to fly up to the front and get in there at the last minute.
Yeah.
So, it's just slow going out, because I don't get no hurry when it's like that, because I don't want to hit nobody. I'm coming to you as quick as I can.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll call you back later.
Yeah, because I'm getting there. I'm trying my damnedest. If these folks move out of the way, I'd be going good.
Okay.
But I'm coming soon. All right, honey, just call me back in a little bit.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, honey, I'm almost there. I'm matter of fact, I got to get off at exit 21, and I'm coming by exit 35 right now.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're almost here.
Yeah, yep, I am not far at all. I'm on my way to you, and we'll be there very shortly.
All right, cool. Talk to you later.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Not much, I said, is your house on the left or right here side of the road?
I'm on the right.
Okay.
Okay.
I might pass your house.
Hey, hush.
Okay.
I think I saw you drive by.
Oh, okay. I thought I might need to turn around.
Okay, well, turn around. You
I'm turning around now. Huh?
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Well, I'll be on the left then, okay?
All right, well, I'm coming back your way then.
Okay, cool.
All right,
Bye.
be here in a minute. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So with that out of the way, let's head on over to the Sting house and check out if Hanson's booty lives up to the hype. The big dog wasn't lying when he said he'd be arriving in a rig, hey.
All right, he's here. Let him turn off the engine. He won't be able to hear anything until he cuts the engine. Okay. Let's let him get down.
And there he is. Sir Dick Hungwell arrived on his metal steed. This man of refined class, of elegance, has entered this new kingdom with grace. His tremendous qualities of culture, never more noticeable than in a few moments, where he spots a cute little bunny hopping around the yard.
I don't see how you see that rabbit.
Such a pleasant setting for such a glorious occasion. It's important to note that we don't have a complete uncut segment available to work with, so I've pieced together as best I could a version of his interview from a few different sources. It flows, but you'll likely notice an odd cut or two here and there.
That's a big truck you got. How do you drive that thing?
Well, to be honest with you, it's like driving a car.
Well, I would love to go for a ride sometime.
Well, I'd love to take you. There's a lot of stuff out there to see.
Let's address the white powdered elephant in the room before we get started. We know later on that cocaine was found in his vehicle, and he admits to police that he is under the influence at the time of this recording and during the chat log. I believe this drug, paired with someone who is more than likely an already fast talker, it makes this interview very difficult to not only understand verbally, but it's also quite tough for me to get a read on what he might be experiencing. Usually when I do these videos, as uncomfortable as it sounds, I try to imagine how I might react under a high amount of pressure similar. I think about scenarios I've been in throughout varying experiences in my life. I'd like to clarify, none have been predatory. But I do this to figure out a baseline for how the man on screen is reacting. Yet in this instance, I don't have experience with the substance he's dabbled in. So really, this is not much more than a spectacle to me. I do know a number of people that enjoy the old nose beverages, and the man's pupils here are most definitely something I've seen before. What you'll likely notice from me is that I'll be picking on things he's saying and trying to understand the ridiculous nature of the out-of-control motorized manner of speech. I'll be doing that rather than going into depth on what he might be experiencing internally.
Where exactly were you going to take her in that truck of yours?
I was just going to take it around, just see certain places, and just talk to her.
Already we have something to pick on, hey? I love it. He says he was going to take her around to see certain places. What he's trying to do is simply convey the idea that they were going to go for a drive with no real destination in mind. But instead of saying that, he says he was going to take her to see certain places. The wording of certain places leads one to suspect that he most definitely had certain places in mind. Hanson picks up on this and will ask him where was the intended destination. The humour of the moment crops up for me when Hungwell responds to that in a way like it was obvious what he meant by what he said, which it was not. We're off to a great start, hey?
Like where?
She just want to go for a ride. I'll take her for a ride. I mean, nothing, I ain't mean no harm. I'm trying to do nothing I shouldn't be doing. Trying to, be no idiot and no pervert. Nothing else.
No pervert.
Mr. Hung. For someone who later claims to have seen this program before, he should know better. That chat log in Chris's hand will absolutely show high levels of pervert. I do wonder if the pressure combined with the substances he's used has forced him into a survival mode corner that overrides logical thought. In this moment, he's unable to process the fact that a chat log is likely coming, and all he can do is defend his honor.
No, if she wants to ride, I'll take her for a ride. Try not to be disrespectful.
An interesting choice of words there. Try not to be disrespectful. I am unsure what he means by that, but I can take a stab at it. Initially, I had thought he was attempting to downplay the predatory element of the scenario by acknowledging it could very easily have turned sexual, but he was going to try and avoid that, thus the try not to be disrespectful comment. But the more I think about it, the less that makes sense, because as you'll soon see, he claims that he had forgotten sexual dialogue took place during the chat. What I think he means by this is a more simple explanation. Moments ago, the decoy had expressed interest in his truck, and he offered to take her for a ride. He's telling Chris that there was no real plan for him to take her out anywhere when he got there, and instead, he was trying not to disrespect the young girl by shutting down an idea of hers. She brought it up, and he went along with it to not be disrespectful. The choice to use the word disrespectful is something that intrigues me. There's another time coming up when he uses words that I find uncommon in predatory vocabulary, and after it happens again, I'll get into my thoughts on that a bit more.
How did you meet her?
I just met her. I was on the computer. Met her on the computer.
On the computer.
Yes, sir.
And do you often get on the internet and chat up teenage girls?
I don't get on the internet. She's the first girl I talked to that,
You know how many times I hear that?
You hear it all the time, but I'm telling you,
Do you think everybody could be telling me the truth?
Oh, no. I'm sure they're not.
Why should I believe you?
Well, I say I get on, one day or 2 days a month, if and when I do come in town, 'cause I come home maybe once a month.
It was 3 minutes into the internet conversation when she told you she was 15. So you knew all the way through this that she was 15 years old.
And I told you, I said, what,
All right, hang on. You say, well, I do think you're damn sexy.
Take a sip of that sweet tea, Sir Predator. You're gonna need it for what's coming up, hey?
And was wanting to know if you have ever had sex.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did. I have it all right here, so you might as well just tell me right now.
I ain't disputing it. No, sir, I ain't disputing it. I'm just damn.
I ain't disputing it, but like, damn. What a reaction. Once again, I don't have experience with the substance he's on, but from what I've gathered, it doesn't seem to alter memory too drastically, like how alcohol might. I believe Joseph knows full well what he said, and is both pretending he wasn't aware, alongside owning responsibility of his actions.
That just fell into the conversation, And,
What attracted you to this particular girl?
Well, when I got talking to her, to be honest with you, it was her, just the way she was intelligent, it's like, I guess you just say, mature. She's like, she had a logical head.
She seemed mature.
Well, she just, she had a logical head on her shoulders, she was easy to talk to.
The logical head on her shoulders sounds good on paper, until Hansen decides to take a look at that chat log, hey?
I think you'd look best in see-through top, lacy thong-type panties, stockings, and heels.
Oh, that's...
It sounds like you thought you had a hot prospect for a sexual liaison.
I told myself I went down here, Joe, get down there and just talk to her, get, friendly with, just be friends with.
I think you probably have a very nice ass as well.
I love how Hansen puts a halt to the man's rapid stream of thought, with more indisputable evidence that what he said has nothing to do with her having a logical head on her shoulders. More like a robust booty on the rear end of her hips.
I know I said some things. I just fell into the conversation. I ain't gonna sit here and try to make no excuse for it.
It's always interesting to me when a person says they're not making excuses for something, then immediately make an excuse for it. Just falling into the conversation isn't an excuse, and it highlights impulse control issues within the man.
Things I said, 'cause I fell into the conversation. It was totally.
Quite an interesting stutter he has there. Totally. I don't think I've ever heard someone stutter like that before. It's almost as though he were capitalizing the letter T in the word totally for maximum effect.
It was wrong, and
You say, yeah, I'll be your bear, and we bears like tasting honey.
when you read it back to me like that right there, I realizing what I said. No, you're right.
And honestly, if you were able, I'd take you with me on trips.
I was wrong, and I fell into the conversation, and I fell into the conversation.
What do you think would have happened if I wasn't here? And in fact, a 15-year-old girl was here.
I told myself, I get in here to sit and just talk to her. You know.
You just said you were going to take her for a ride in the truck.
If she wanted to go, man,
How do you think a girl's father would feel if a 40-year-old man took a 15-year-old girl for a ride in a truck?
He'd be upset, right?
And he'd be justified with it.
Oh, yes, he would.
It's easy to pass over, but notice how he said that a father would be upset, and rightly so. I don't often hear people use the phrase, rightly so. This ties into my thoughts earlier when he said he didn't want to be disrespectful. I do believe that somewhere down beneath all the layers of nonsense that have accumulated over the years, there is, or at least was, a gentleman dwelling within, as I had mentioned during the chat log. It's interesting to ponder the possibilities of this man, and what has brought him to where he is right now, growing up with 8 sisters, learning the ins and outs of articulating his thoughts in a dignified manner. Where along the path of his life did it start to turn towards drug abuse and degenerate sexual fantasy? That's only for Joseph to know, but listening to him take responsibility and word it in the way he has chosen does bring a level of sadness to me when I put some layer of thought into it. The sadness doesn't detract from any harsh feelings of judgment I have regarding what he's tried to do here, but it does add a layer of depth to his character. It makes me wonder what sort of man this could have been had his life panned out differently. Was he always a grub, or did it form through life experience? Whatever the answer may be, he's found himself in a wealth of trouble, and rightly so.
You own that rig yourself?
No, sir.
So you work for a company that owns that rig?
Yes, sir.
And how do you think they'd take to the fact you're out driving that rig around, going to meet a 15-year-old girl?
Well, they would look at it on it as in a bad note and look at it,
a bad note?
Like the way it actually looks.
You know what's wrong.
It was foolish.
It was foolish.
It was the wrong thing to do, and it won't happen again. I know you got a job to do, and I see it all the time. And
you see what all the time?
On news reports.
You've seen stories on television news about guys coming over to meet underage kids.
Yes, sir. But
I need to tell you that I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on adults who try to meet young teens on the internet. If there's anything else you'd like to tell us, we're happy to hear it. And if not, you're obviously welcome to walk out the door you came in.
No, sir. I mean, like I said, I told myself on the way down here, just talk to her, and get to know her, don't just stay away from the sexual overtones, and talk to her.
I know this is not much more than common sense, but truly, I think if any person enters any scenario where they feel the need to tell themselves to stay away from any sexual overtones, as he puts it, then it's likely best to steer clear of that situation completely.
So you're trying to protect her?
No, I was trying to tell myself.
Oh, you're telling yourself?
I
didn't see any mentoring.
On the way down here, I was telling myself, Joe, you get down there, talk to her, just, and I know we go to jail.
Well, go ahead, you walk right up.
And so that's Joseph Myrick, hey? So Dick hung well. The gentleman caged within him must truly be dying on the inside like never before, having to sit by in its cell, watching on as the beast that has become Joseph makes poor decision after poor decision, ultimately resulting in this fateful meeting with the predator-catcher extraordinaire. I feel pretty torn in regards to my feelings towards Joseph. He exhibits the worst traits of predators, but at the same time, as good a traits that one of these men can get. He's coked out of his mind, sexual filth polluting the chat log, but also these hints that maybe, just maybe, he might have been a respectful man, or should I say, a respectful predator. Sure, he came to this meeting with the hope that sex would take place, but would he have pressured someone into that should they not have wanted what he had on offer? I really don't know. It could go both ways for me. What isn't in question is the fact that he stated multiple times through the log that this scenario with the decoy is a good thing, and something he wants to reoccur time after time for a long while coming. If nothing happened on this date, I would place money on Joseph playing the long groom, attempting to break down his target over time until he got what he wanted. Based on this altered version we have of him, I really don't know who sober Joseph is, and because of that, I can't comment too much on whether he's a preferential offender or not. The decoy used was one of their older ones at 15 years of age, and he seemed pleasantly surprised that she looked older than what she said she was. An opportunistic offender likely in my mind, one whose poor control of impulse was weakened even further by substance abuse, and long lonely hours on the road, and a man who posed a significant threat to any young person that chose to let him into their world.
Well, I have no control of the truck.
Good. But I'll have to
Myrick ended up being convicted on criminal attempt to commit child molestation and criminal attempt to commit statutory rape. Despite being a convicted felon who had 11 prior arrests in the past 24 years, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison with a minimum of 5 years to serve. He was also required to register as a sex offender for life. Joseph was released from prison in 2009 and remained on probation until 2024. Other than that, I really couldn't find any other information about this man. Fingers crossed he's kept his eyes off of booties and focused on the clean road ahead. And with that, that's it for Joseph Myrick. Thank you for watching. Take it easy.
They find cocaine in his truck.
Cocaine.
The detectives find cocaine.
He's had 11 prior arrests.
11 prior arrests.
11 prior arrests.
I can tell you like this. When I talk both times about this motherfucker, you know, I wasn't telling him, and I wasn't
He seems to blame the cocaine for his current predicament, charged with drug possession.